start again. It's replay, so I mean, I suck at this. On one, alright?
Yep.
Three, two, one. Hello and welcome everybody to a replay cast here today with Rifkin and Zeph from Base Trade TV. This is the Zotac monthly final. I believe it was for December, but I could be wrong. It's either December or November. They had a little bit of a time-lapse hiccup there, but this is going to be a best-of-5 series between none other than Hyun and Revival. So we're going to get right into this. Starting here in the lower right corner of the map, it's going to be the blue Zerg player. No longer on TSL, unfortunately. It is Hyun.
And his opponent on the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning as a red Zerg, it is TSL's Revival.
Man, every time we go to do intros, I always feel so out of place because I don't know if you've seen Doom's handiwork, but Doom has the best zoom in, pivot, swivel left, swivel right introduction camera movement. And I could never even hope to mimic that.
Really?
It's actually
I've never
really well
seen
done. Well, Revival right now go for that extractor trick, trying to crank you out next to drone early on. I think at this point it's been so long into the StarCraft history where people don't really care whether it's effective or not. It's just like, I'm doing it. Just
Yeah.
deal with it. It's kind of like going pool first versus hatch first. It is, there's a slight difference, but it's not like game-breakingly different.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. But ZVZ and these guys are pretty sick. Hyun is actually probably my favorite ZVP player. Um, but he fares pretty well in ZVZ as well.
And wow, spawning pool first out of Hyun, so yeah, just talk about that. Looks like Revival going to go for the hatchery as well. So there's that trade-off we were just talking about. This really shouldn't affect the gameplay all that much. I mean, because on one hand you could have the queen out earlier, on the other hand you've got drones coming from the larva.
Yeah.
It's whatever. Now
It's not the same.
the one thing I always enjoy seeing in CVZ is the fact that Zerg has no real anti-air early on. That Overlord highway that gets created, how there's just this line down the map where it's like, I see exactly everything you're doing, and you see exactly everything I'm doing.
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of annoying actually, but there's lots of cool tricks that you see Zerg players actually do with their queens and creep and avoiding sight to do their attacks more effectively. And as we see
Oh
here in this
gosh.
game, we've got a gas for Revival while Hyun's pool just finishes.
I'm trying to remember who it was. I want to say it was Hyun versus somebody, but I could be wrong. It was the chaos they did with Panda, where we had the Overlord highway full of creep, go fast layer, drop all the creep, and walk like 5 queens across the map with roaches.
Yeah.
Just decimated. It was ridiculous. The extra transfuses, the extra DPS, it really doesn't seem that much when you think about it, but it's such a big deal.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few of those in our C tournaments actually from T-Gun, formerly from FXO, and Gosu. He was known for a little while for doing Roach Queen builds, and they're disgustingly good if you're not prepared for them. Maybe we'll get to see something like that in this game, I don't know yet. It's still early days, not too much happening so far.
Well, Revival's going for a speed right now. It's going to be out a little bit earlier than Hyun's. He hasn't started his just yet. Just kind of waiting on that. You get the small window of opportunity where it doesn't matter if your speed's late because of the map distance. But, I mean, if Revival gets that speed done before Hyun even starts, I mean, there's no gas on the field. This could be really good for him.
He's going super greedy, but he's also grabbing an extra queen. He might even drop a spine crawler if he scouts and sees that some link bane pressure is coming along, because you can defend perfectly fine on just queens and lings as long as you control well.
Yeah, we have a Baneling Nest coming out of Revival too, so I mean, Hyun right now doesn't really look like he has anything he can fight Revival with.
Yeah, that's very true. He's grabbing double gas now to try and catch up. But the key would be to try and get a really good scout off on the base and see that that Baneling Nest is coming up. So he knows the possibility, although given the state of ZVZ, it's really common for players to get that Baneling Nest anyway, so he can probably assume that it's there.
Yeah, well, it's also, I mean, like, it's one thing to have, like, waves of crashing Zerglings versus huge waves of Banelings, but, I mean, you always, like you said, you can expect your opponent to have it. You always want to have 1 or 2 Banelings down, because the early game, that's all it really takes. Good micro 1 or 2 Banelings to hold everything off. But Hyun saying, nope, forget that, we have a Roach Warren on the way.
Very nice. So he's skipping that Baneling tech path altogether, wants to go straight into that Roach composition. We'll see if he goes
look at this, the Baneling!
And oh gosh.
Revival's,
that is a great wall.
Yeah, Revival's got all these Banelings and Zerglings, but with 4 Queens, Roach Warren, and Evolution Chamber, there's just no way for him to break into this. He could try and go for the back rocks, but, I mean, really the small force is not able to contend
Yeah.
with what Hyun has at the moment.
But nonetheless, Revival and Hyun are pretty much even on the drone counts. Revival just pumped out a few more. He's about a round of drones ahead, so he
Yeah,
has a slight
41 to
edge in that sense,
35.
but they're more or less the same. So these
Ooh.
units haven't done much, however, he does have map control now.
And we do have 4 gas out of Hyun, so we could see him go for something else. We do have the layer on the way. I don't know that he's got enough bank to really go for something crazy like Mutalisk. We might just see him go for something more standard with that Roach Horn already being out. Yeah, +1 weapons on the way. We're probably just going to see this go towards Roach Infester.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Or he may actually delay the infestors and go for more mass roach style for a little bit, but we'll soon
Ooh,
see
a
as
large...
Revival is taking a third.
Yeah, a large concern I have for Revival right now is he is taking that third. He's got this nice economy, but these rocks are still up, and he hasn't even started trying to take them down. And I mean, as a Zerg player yourself, I'm sure you've experienced plenty of times where you've lost your third to frustrating reinforcement paths.
Yeah, that's true. It does happen. Spreading the creep out like Revival is right now does actually help a lot with that, but at the same time, you definitely want to get those rocks down. So, for the time being, however, he hasn't actually made any units to do that, so he's
Ooh,
quite
Hyun.
comfortable.
Yeah, we're here at 8 minutes, 30 seconds in the game. Hyun has 7 roaches on the field. 8, some more on the way. We got +1 started. We got speed on the way. I mean, he's just ahead of Revival in every way he needs to be at the moment.
Yeah, he is definitely going for a nice +1 roach push. He might move out a little bit here, and I love how he's using the queen to try and clear up those overlords, and he's got a creep highway going.
Yeah, with the queens on the way, there's only 3 with them, but I mean, 3 queens can be very powerful when reinforcing your roaches. And right now, Revival, look at the unit count. He's got only 3 to 15 roaches to hold off right now. The Zerglings will be nice. The Banelings can add some splash damage, but I mean, really, I don't know that Revival has enough to hold this right now. He's actually supply blocked from these queens that have been cleaning up the overlords across the map. And yeah, here's the crash at the top of the ramp. Oh, Revival is just getting pushed back immediately.
Yeah,
are we gonna see some
he may
transfuse?
not
Yep.
even hold this. He has to pull the drones, but against transfusing queens and roaches, there's not going to be much.
And that +1, that +1 is in effect for Hyun right now. Revival is lacking the tech upgrade. He doesn't have speed. He doesn't have +1. He's pumping out a hell of a lot of roaches. We'll see if that defender's advantage will be enough. But I mean, right now, this small engagement outside the base, it's pretty close. But Hyun's just got bigger numbers, I feel, especially with the transfusing queens and the tech advantage.
Yeah.
This isn't looking good for Revival. He's kind of being forced to split his army in 2, and that's the last thing you want to do, have a small splinter cell trying to hold off a big enforcement path. And Hyun, wow, look at these roaches, Zeph. Some of them get away with just a little bit of HP left. The queens are finally going down, so there are no more transfuses to reinforce us with. But Revival, he's just so hurt for numbers. He's got the third base going, he's got a little extra economy, so he's not down and out yet. But I mean, Hyun is just relentless. Look at this. Constantly reinforcing roaches across the map.
Yeah, there's just too much for him, and now that he's sacrificed his entire naturals mineral line, more or less, he doesn't quite have the same economy as Hyun to continue these reinforcements. Plus, Hyun was a lot more cost efficient for a lot longer here.
Ooh, and actually, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't Contaminate stop larva spawn too? So I mean, this hatchery is just... This hatchery is useless right now, and Revival doesn't want to deal with it.